everybody, and welcome back to the stream. It's Friday, and you know what that means. It's time for Functional Home Fitness, where we do weight training using objects you can find around your house. And welcome back. Welcome back, my friends. Yeah, it's interesting. Every piece of me is like, I hope you had a great holiday yesterday. But I've also been doing a lot of thinking about Thanksgiving and the incredibly problematic nature of it as a holiday, and trying to do some more deep dives into ways that I can decolonize myself from Thanksgiving. But I hope you had a good day. I hope that it was filled with delicious food, and I hope that we can continue to have these conversations. Maybe not tonight, but going forward, because I think that there are important conversations to be had around the super problematic nature of this particular holiday. But yeah, I hope you ate good food and sent love to people that you love, and I hope that you were safe. Yay, safe. Yay, not going to have big meals with people you aren't bubbling with. Hi, friends. Hi, friends. Yeah, it's the end of the week. It's the end of the week. It's been a weird week for me. I'm not gonna lie. But there are a lot of exciting things on the horizon, which is really cool. So, just trying to keep breathing. I finally did get to eat that bread that I made a few days ago, though, and it's delicious. Let me tell you, there's just nothing better than homemade bread. And I really want to get into a habit of making it on a regular basis so that I truly can count on just always having bread in the house and not worrying about running out and then having to go get store-bought to tide me over or anything like that, because it's so delicious. And all things considered, doesn't take a lot of altogether time to make. It's a long process. Like, the recipe I use is a day-long process, but in terms of active activity that I'm doing, probably like half an hour, maybe a full hour, but really a lot of it is just sitting around and letting the bread do its thing, which means that you have all sorts of time to do whatever else you need to be doing, which is great. So yeah, my goal is to make bread on a more frequent basis. Who knows? Maybe we'll do a rest day stream one of these days, where I take you along parts of the process of making bread. Although, as I say that out loud, considering how long and drawn out the process is, it might be a little boring to watch. You made homemade borscht? Whoa. Or is that something you're recommending that I make? That sounds terrifying. Delicious, but terrifying. Wow. Crazy. I love it. Well, who knows? Cooking is a nice thing to get into, and it's also a really intense thing when you didn't grow up with a family where cooking was a part of your familial traditions. So it's something that I still feel really uncomfortable with, just because I feel really, I feel my own lack of knowledge around cooking, and so it's a slow process for me to get to a place where I'm like, I can make this thing and I don't really have to think about it, and I feel confident that I am going to get what I expect to get when I make it. So yeah, it's a slow process, but if you, like me, are slowly trying to work a new discipline or a new habit into your life, It's okay if it's taken you a long time. It's taken me a long time. Um, all right, my friends, there are plenty of things to talk about. I have a lot of things on my mind, particularly around yesterday and around a lot of the language that I see flying around, especially in fitness spaces, focused on uh, weight loss and earning your Thanksgiving meals and all of this stuff. But we should probably start class first. So, if you're new to functional home fitness, welcome. We're doing free weight training using random stuff that you can find around your house. So I've got a backpack, I've got a laundry detergent bag bottle, I got some books back there, anything that you can find. My two advisories for this class, one specific to this class and one more general around free weight training. Specific to this class, we're doing weight training with things that are not specifically designed for weight training. So if we were in a gym, we would have nice racks of dumbbells and kettlebells, and they would all have the exact amount of weight written on the side in pounds or kilograms, and they would all have nice handles, easily grippable so that you can maneuver the weight safely. That's not what we're using. We're getting creative here in our homes, which is awesome, but it also means that we are not able to deliberately load ourselves the way that we would be able to in a gym. So if this is your first class, err on the side of caution when you're selecting things to use for each of the exercises. And if you get to the end of a set and you're like, okay, I could really ramp up the amount of weight I'm using there, then yeah, go for it. I love bags for exactly that reason, because, if I'm using a tote bag or a backpack or something like that, and I go, all right, I want a little more weight in here, well, all I have to do is add some more smaller objects into it, so you can have a little bit more control over the loading process. But don't start out being like, all right, I'm going to lift the heaviest thing in my living room. Because we don't want to start there until we know that we can safely lift it. Hello, my dear. Good to see you. Which leads me to my second advisory, which is more general for weight training. Humans are not symmetrical creatures. We have stronger sides and weaker sides. And when we're doing free weight training, especially arm exercises, frequently we will have one weight in each hand being manipulated by each arm, and we want those weights to be the same amount of weight. It is tempting to load ourselves to the degree that our stronger side can handle, in an assumption that if we just push our weaker side up to where our stronger side is, that's totally going to help us get our weaker side stronger, right? No. Frequently, that ends up with us overloading our weaker side, giving it more weight than it can safely handle, which means that your body is going to make unhealthy modifications to try and manage the weight, and which frequently means that you are setting yourself up to injure yourself. So whenever you are loading yourself for free weight training, free weight arm exercises, make sure you are pitching the amount of weight that you're using towards what your weaker side can manage, something that is going to be challenging but doable. Okay? And it may feel a little easy for your stronger side, but that's okay. Your stronger side can chill there for a little bit while you're working on your weaker side. But if you try and navigate too much weight with your weaker side, far more likely you're going to lose control of it in some way. You're going to be unhealthily compensating, and you're going to end up with an injury. Okay? So those are our advisories. Woo! Pre-class checklist. Yeah. All right, my friends. We have got our water bottles or water mason jars, whatever we're using. This isn't going to be as intensively cardio as most of the classes are, but still important to hydrate. Always important to hydrate. Fitness Mom says hydrate. We've got our comfy clothes on, whatever that means to you. We got our mats or a mat size spaced on the floor. And really for this, we really do just need a mat-sized space on the floor, because we're not going to be jumping around a lot. So, and if you use a fitness wearable, You can turn it on now. I use strength training settings for this class rather than high intensity interval training because we're not really doing a HIIT class today, okay? All right. But we are starting with our usual warm-up. So grab that last sip of water. Let's do it. All right, my friends. Yeah. Okay. We are going to just awkwardly heave ourselves onto our mats, on our backs. Oh, someday I'll have a setup that doesn't require me to do that. All right. We're on our mats, on our backs, 1 foot crossed over the opposite knee. And as soon as you hear that timer go, we will begin with hip rocks and bridges. Hi-ya! Here we are, remembering that we are warming up, so we are deliberately building up the amount of energy that we're using over the course of the warm-up, not trying to start immediately at 100% intensity. Gotta save energy for all this fun weight training we're gonna be doing. Yeah. Oh man, I do love this giant laundry detergent bottle. Honestly, giant laundry detergent bottles are some of the most effective weightlifting tools that you can find around your house. And I'm sure we've all had the experience of picking up a laundry detergent bottle and going, oh yeah, I could totally weightlift with this. And you know, this class is all about letting you live that dream. Letting you really experience what it's like to weightlift with one of those detergent bottles. The main complexity of them is that the weight, the overall weight, is due to the amount of liquid inside, right? And so the more you use, the more the amount of weight changes. And B, as the bottles become emptier, the liquid has a tendency to slosh around, which obviously impacts, you know, where the weight is at any point during the movement, which causes us to have to do additional modifications that you don't have to do with something that is just a static object, basically. So if you are using detergent bottles a lot for this class, just keep that in mind, that sometimes you will have the experience of the fluid start shifting in the bottle and the weight, this sort of center of weight of the object will shift. And you need to take that into account while you are doing your reps with that bottle. So they are extremely effective for weightlifting, but they do carry their own complexity that you don't get when you're just using a dumbbell or a kettlebell or something like, or even a book, something like that, that's going to be consistent in where the center of the weight is, no matter what you're doing with the weight. But they're fun. And, if you get the giant Costco-sized laundry detergent bottle, like I have, then you have a very convenient top handle, which is really nice. And maybe someday I'll get a couple of smaller bottles, and then I can have, dumbbells more easily available to me. Who knows? The sky's the limit. Or maybe I'll just get a dumbbell rack someday. That's also possible. I promise this class is always going to be in the rotation because I think it's really important, particularly from an accessibility standpoint, to remind ourselves of our abilities to get creative with our exercise, so that we're not letting ourselves get thrown off by the lack of the perfect setup. But But I do also really like the idea of having having some sort of class that uses a little bit more traditional gym equipment in it, because I know that a lot of people do have that in their homes, or are hoping to get that, you know. So obviously, if you already have that type of equipment, I try to let you know what type of weight I would use for each of the exercises that we do. And if you have dumbbells and kettlebells at home, you are more than welcome to just do this class with that equipment. You know, you are not required to use the laundry detergent bottle if you've got a nice set of dumbbells sitting just outside your reach. You know, you can use those, absolutely. I just like to stick with the weird equipment because I like to help everybody remember that, yeah, we can still get an awesome workout even if we're just sort of wandering around our homes going, well, that looks heavy and also holdable. Let's see what we can do here. It's important to keep exercising your creativity, my friends. And, you know, as we head into the winter months and are spending even more time in our homes than we already are, it's going to be really, really important to keep ourselves really stoking the fires of our creativity. Basically, we want to relight those fires of imagination, even if it's just, okay, what objects can I use for my free weight training stream? You know, that is a type of creativity. You've got to look at an object and see a use for it beyond what its stated use is, you know? And that takes creativity. So, yeah, see, we're helping to expand your imagination here on Blanche Case Fitness. That's it's a side benefit of the work that we're doing here, and a very good one too, I think. All right, we are on our last run of the leg sequence before we move into opening up our backs and our hips. So our nice, comfortable beach pose, just focusing on lifting that bottom leg, nice and easy. I will say, this time of year always really worries me because of how much messaging starts going up all over the place about, you know, oh, I gotta earn that big meal with exercise, you know, or oh, you know, I gotta get those holiday pounds off and all of this stuff, all of this, like, you know, we get into these horrible cycles where, you know, we see food as something that we're fighting against or something we should be ashamed of, and we see exercise as a punishment for eating delicious foods, and, you know, we see weight on our bodies as some sort of moral or health judgment on ourselves, when none of those things are true. And it's really concerning because even, you know, it is particularly prevalent in the fitness world, right? I have seen so many posts about, you know, fat loss, weight loss, and all of this stuff, and try our new 14-day program absolutely free, and just watch everything melt off you and all this crap. And it is one of the biggest challenges in our society is this terrible adversarial relationship that we've created with food and exercise, where, you know, we have foods that we feel like we're supposed to feel guilty about for eating, and so we punish ourselves and we turn exercise into, you know, a chore that you do because you did a bad thing and you ate too much food, rather than an enjoyable part of your day and your regular routine. And we just set up such unhealthy pathways for ourselves. And there's also a lot of fat phobia rampant in this country, and that is something that's mind-blowingly angering for me. You know, because I've worked in healthcare and health insurance fields long enough to know that weight is not an automatic marker of bad health, and that there are plenty of people who are what we would call fat, who are far fitter than I am, and there are plenty of people who are super thin in that way that society rewards us for being, and are incredibly unhealthy. You know, eat like crap, don't exercise. But we've done this thing where we assign moral judgments on ourselves and on others for having the mythical too much weight. And it's incredibly dangerous. I've also worked in eating disorders. I worked at an eating disorders clinic for a while when I was younger, and those diseases are deadly, my friends. You know, we do not acknowledge how dangerous and how deadly mental health conditions can be, and anorexia is one of the deadliest. And how do we end up with people struggling with anorexia? Well, a large part of it has to do with us creating this field of shame around our bodies existing with, you know, with weight. And it's really horrifying, and it's so frustrating to me too when I see these things, you know, grasped onto and used as marketing tools in the fitness world. You know, when I see instructors and trainers using this shaming and rampant fat phobia as a way to shame people into exercising. And that's not what this should be about. This should be about you existing in your body in the healthiest way possible. And exercise is good for that. But exercise is not it's not designed to take pounds off of your body. And I don't think that should ever be the focus. You know? I don't. And so this is a really stressful time, and you may be feeling that. You know, you may be experiencing a lot of that stress around food and, you know, being made to feel guilty for enjoying whatever feasts, whatever meals you've made for yourself. And, you know, you may have relatives who are shaming you, or friends, or you may be doing it to yourself. So whenever that voice pops up, either externally or internally. I want to be the other voice that pops up and that reminds you that your weight is not actually an indicator of your health. All right? There are people who have, another 100 pounds on me or more who probably have healthier labs than I do. I'm a relatively lean person, and that is where my body chemistry is. But I also am predisposed to higher cholesterol, and there are people, as I said, with 100 or more pounds on me who probably have absolutely beautiful labs. And so we have this idea that we can visually ID someone's health based on their weight, and it's not true. So this holiday season, I want all of us to start breaking down what those blind spots and those prejudices are that we carry within ourselves around weight as a marker of health, weight as a marker of attractiveness, in all of these areas that are incredibly unhealthy thinking and that lead to bullying and lead to people, doing dangerous things in the name of trying to achieve a more societally accepted body type and all this stuff. So, yeah. And I'm sure that a lot of us are struggling with it. Yeah, as Amanda says, quarantine weight comments are all over the place, And when I went to college, there was the whole thing about the freshman 15 and stuff like that. And yeah, it is lost all the time how everybody's body is different. And, I can be eating the exact same things and doing the exact same workouts on the exact same schedules as another person. And maybe I lose a ton of weight doing that, and maybe they stay at the same weight that they started at. They're still healthier because exercising is healthy for all of us, okay? No matter whether you are, 200 or 300 pounds, no matter whether you only have the use of your arms or don't have the use of arms or legs, exercise is still healthy for us, okay? But there's a lot of ableism, there's a lot of fat phobia built into it, and we need to pay attention. We need to deconstruct these things, these attitudes in ourselves whenever we can. And I feel like holiday seasons are a good time to do that because they are a time when when these types of comments are just rampant everywhere. Yeah, and it's important, Sometimes we have the energy, we have the spoons to dive into those conversations, and sometimes we need to know when they're going to be triggering us, and we need to remove ourselves from the situation. It can be particularly weird in work situations where most of the time we don't feel like we are able to speak as openly as we would in other situations, right? Also, thank you, my lovely mod friends. You're my faves. Yeah. And that, I feel like you put the effort in, and that's awesome. And if no results are being seen, then yeah, sometimes it's like, okay, I'm just going to remove myself from this because my energy is better spent elsewhere. Oh, God. Yeah, yeah, yeah. All right, my friends. So we are going to do our usual sequence structure, but we're going to have 6. I was about to put up a 3. 3 times 2 is 6. This has been math with Blanche Case Fitness. Oh my goodness. We are going to do our usual weight training sequence, but with 6 exercises. We're going to be going through them 3 times total. Okay? 2-minute intervals, so the same as we have been doing. So we'll do our reps and use the rest of the timer as rest, and then we'll hear knock, 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 which tells us to get into position for the next exercise, and we'll just cycle through. Plug and play fun. So let's talk about what our exercises are going to be. And I'm moving my water bottle just because I'm not going to be spending as much time sitting in front of the laptop. So I want to have my water closer at hand. All right, so we are going to start with our 1 dumbbell front raise. So for this, if I was in a gym, I would be using a single dumbbell held on the handle, held vertically basically on the handle. So at home, I can do a number of things. I can use a particularly heavy book like this, which I think I will do just so that you can better see what I'm doing. This isn't the exact positioning of the arms for what, if we were using an actual dumbbell, obviously. If I was using a dumbbell, my hands would be together like this and helping to manage the weight up and down. So with most of these, we are making small modifications because, again, we're not using equipment that is specifically designed for what we're doing. But we're going to hold the object. I've done this with a stock pot and held it by the handles. I've done it with a backpack. We're just going to hold the object, and I'll show you from the side. I'm just in a nice stable stance. I'm going to lift up to about shoulder height, not too high above it, and lower, lift and lower, and just make sure that I'm controlling the weight the whole time, okay? All right, next exercise is going to be, so we're going to take a wall sit. Oh, this is probably going to be too heavy. I should have figured that out beforehand. So we're going to take a wall sit, and we are going to hold a lighter object out in front of us, like this, okay? So for the wall sit, and I know I'm getting farther and farther away from the camera, but I've got 90-degree angle and 90-degree angle, and then I'm just holding this straight out in front of me. If you want to add a little additional engagement, you can get the obliques involved by twisting from side to side, or you can just hold. Now, obviously, for that, there's not going to be a number of reps that we're doing, so I'll just call out when a minute's gone by and try to make it to a minute, okay? And then once the minute's gone by, you have 1 more minute left. You can make the determination whether you're going to stay in the position a little longer or take a rest, okay? Then we are going to do tricep extensions. I'm using this giant cookbook a lot. Cookbooks are frequently really good for this stuff because they're heavy buddies. All right, so our lying down tricep extension, so I'm just lying on my back, and I'm going to lift this book above my head, and I'm going to slowly lower it down until it's almost at the floor, but not quite, and then push back up to straight, down and up and down and up. I hold it at the edge just so that I can actually get farther down, but You can also hold it in the center, and that obviously gives you a little more even control over the entirety of the weight of the book, okay? So things to think about. Then we are going to do two sides of the same thing. And that thing is our single leg dumbbell bridges. So if I come down and I have a weight, maybe it's a dumbbell, maybe it's a laundry detergent bottle, but I have it on my hips, and I'm going to lift one leg in the air, and I'm going to be bridging up using the other leg. And up and down and up and down. And then for our fifth exercise, I'm just going to do the other side, okay? And then our last exercise is the dumbbell press. And so this one, if I was doing it in a gym, I'd have a weight in each hand, and I'd be pressing up like this. It's harder to do exercises that require two weights of equal weight at home with this type of equipment, because we can't be as sure that the two objects we've grabbed are the same weight. So if you have, say, a big book like this, you can push it up above your head. So you're doing a press from the chest rather than from the sides of the head, so it's slightly different, but similar enough. So those are our exercises. The one dumbbell front raise, the wall sit holding a book or other light object, adding in a twist if we want to add in the twist. The tricep extension lying on the ground. Our single leg dumbbell bridges, side one and then side two. And finally, our dumbbell press. So those are our 6 exercises. And I'd say it's time to get this party started. So everybody head over to your mat. And as soon as you hear the horn go, we will start with the one dumbbell front raise. This is our plug and play class, basically, because I don't need to be changing anything with the timer. I'm going to do this from the side so that you can still see me, since obviously lifting something right in front of my face is not particularly helpful. But I have stabilized the entirety of my body. Oh, that's right, number of reps. Hey, let's go for 20 to 30 today, okay? Remember that we're going through 3 times in total. So maybe that means that you have a little extra energy, since we're not doing our usual 4 rotations through, but we are doing 6 total exercises. So maybe that means that you need to hang on to a little extra energy. But so I am engaging my core and engaging my glutes to stabilize everything in my trunk from head to toes, so that the only thing that is moving are my arms from the shoulder joint, okay? And so for those single joint exercises, that is for even when I don't specify, even when you're like, okay, well, all I'm doing is this, you still want to take a second to go, okay, I need to be in a stable position. I need to make sure that nothing down here is moving around, so that suddenly I am unable to safely lift and lower this weight. So, all right, my core is usually a good bet for a stabilizing muscle group. We're in a standing position, so engaging my glutes probably helps pull all this together as well. And just having to pay attention to these things. All right, get ready, get set. Here we are in our wall sit. So remember to breathe. This is going to feel really intense, really quickly on your quads. And you want to make sure that you are breathing the whole time, visualizing the oxygen going down to those quads, going down to wherever you're feeling the most intensity of sensation. Okay? You may start to feel a little vibrating in those muscles. That's totally fine. All right? That is totally natural. So just keep getting the oxygen in, because even though we're not moving, we still need oxygen to go to those muscles. They are still working hard. All right, it's been a minute, so if you want to keep hanging in that position, absolutely do. And if you want to shake out, take a little rest, grab some water, maybe do some quad stretching, you can absolutely do that too. All right? Ah, yeah, water. I don't think I saw that last one. It's true, yeah. Cookbook. So, talking about cookbooks as a really good book option for a class like this, because they're generally heavy because they have thicker paper for glossy photos, and they're on nice thick paper stock. So good for what we're doing. Just make sure to not wreck the bindings, right? Although I think it's less worrisome for your home cookbook than for a library cookbook, because, you know, if this book falls out of its bindings, well, I can still use it just fine. You know, it's not really any skin off my nose. I never really thought of that, Amanda. That is, you know, and I don't know why it didn't occur to me that, of course, libraries would have a cookbook section, but it honestly hadn't. And that must be a really interesting section to try and maintain, considering that cookbooks get pretty heavy usage and are generally in the kitchen, which means that they are around a lot of foodstuffs and getting said foodstuffs dropped onto them quite frequently. There you go. See? Things that it never occurred to me to wonder about. And that's the thing, right? That's where blind spots are. It's just things that had never occurred to me to wonder about before, because I've never worked in a library. So, you know, it never crossed my mind. And there we go. Today I learned. Yeah. Oh, I'm sure the coffee table books would also be great for this. I don't have a ton of actual coffee table books. And a lot of the bigger books are, you know, books that I actually need some care. So I don't necessarily want to be throwing them around with our weight training class. But yeah, if you have a nice coffee table book, definitely consider using that as one of your weightlifting options. That can definitely be a good choice if you don't have a handy laundry detergent bottle. So the thing I was talking about earlier with the way that the center of weight will change in a detergent bottle depending on how much liquid in it. I'm definitely feeling that with this thing. You know, every time I do the exercise, the liquid starts sloshing around in here, right? And so suddenly I don't have the weight staying solidly in the same place that I was expecting it to be in. So it is one of the trickier aspects of using these, and so it's just important to be aware of it, right? For all of these, you know, we are lifting heavy things, and whenever we lift heavy things, we want to be paying attention to how we are doing it so that we can do it safely. And you know, that goes for being in the gym, and that goes for moving heavy furniture into your new home, or some, you know, anything like that. And that goes for trying to use a laundry detergent bottle as a dumbbell. So just keep that in mind. And if it's causing you to have difficulty in maintaining the form, then use something else, you know. I love this thing because of the amount of weight. Obviously, it's really convenient for that. But if I'm spending more time trying to wrestle the changing center of weight around than I am on focusing on the actual exercise, then it's not a good weight for this class, okay? So don't get stuck on something just because I'm using it or recommending it, you know? This is, again, about creativity. So if you're trying to use that and you're just like, it is not working, or, oh, it's covered in, you know, film from the actual soap and that's uncomfortable, like, there are so many other things. Bags are just always a great choice. I love using bags for so many of these, which is funny because I'm not using one today, but that does not take away my love of using bags for this class. Oh man, I need a chiropractor visit. I'm definitely, when I was doing the jumping jacks earlier, I was definitely feeling, and it wasn't pain, but I was feeling engagement that I wasn't expecting in my shoulder area. So definitely something to get checked out, assuming that I can set up anything even approximating a healthy and safe appointment, which, you know, at this point, I don't know that I can. It's bad out there, my friends. It's really bad out there, and I'm honestly a little terrified to see what the numbers look like after Thanksgiving is done, because we know that there are plenty of people out there who apparently cannot bear the thought of taking care of others if it means that they don't get to do exactly what they want to do at the exact moment that they want to do it. And aside from being mind-blowingly selfish, it's also just unconscionably dangerous right now. And, you know, people are using tests as, you know, safety theater, basically, in the same way that we have these whole structures of security lines at airports, and it's basically just security theater. And it's just so frustrating to hear the ways in which we justify our unsafe decisions to ourselves. And, you know, some people are making decisions that they know are dangerous, and they're not trying to justify that. And it doesn't make it better necessarily, but I have more respect for them than the people who are tying themselves into knots trying to explain why it will totally be just fine for them. It'll be just fine for me, you know. I've been being safe, and this other person only sees like one other person, and you know, I'm sure everybody on this plane flight is being safe too, you know. It's gonna be fine. And I find that hardest to forgive, because, you know, it's because they're lying to themselves, because they don't want to be inconvenienced. And I find that really frustrating. particularly because there are so many of us who don't even have the opportunities to stay safely quarantined that others do, you know? Anybody with a frontline job, anybody working in a grocery store or a retail position or a restaurant, coffee shops, you know, they don't have the option to work from home. So every day is, you know, making a terrible devil's bargain between staying home and losing your job, which means you lose your home, or continuing to go to work knowing that you are increasing your risk of getting COVID. And you know, there's so many people out there who do not have the luxury of staying home, of working from home and getting stuff delivered, and you know, really not having to interact with anybody if they don't want to. And so to see the people who do have that flexibility, just trying to behave as if nothing is different, it just grinds my gears. As a fictional Rhode Islander used to say a bunch, it really grinds my gears. All right, back to these wall sits. Oh boy, howdy. They are hard. They are hard. Well, wall sits are a heck of a thing. And I tell you, we've done a lot of good leg work this week, my friends. And it's been intense. We've done a lot of toe squats and squat jumps, and just, we have really been working these quads a heck of a lot. So be proud of them. And remember, you know, it's a wall sit, so you can push against your feet a little bit to really flatten that back against the wall. It engages your quads a little bit more, so just keep that in mind. But you can sort of wedge yourself in if that is useful. All right, that's 1 minute down, my friends. So if you need to take a sit back, you can. Or testing, yeah, tests are only useful if A, you take the test and then do not see anyone else, or B, you're testing, you know, super frequently. And even then, I mean, sure, I can test super frequently, but that still is not going to give me, each test is only going to tell me that I wasn't infectious on the day of the test. Like, really, the only way to do it is I get tested, I go straight back to my home without seeing anyone, and then I stay there. And that's not what most people are doing. Most people are getting tested and then going about their daily lives. So for those of you who have had to get tested and who have done it safely, gone into full-on quarantine beforehand, thank you. I appreciate you. And you are doing your part to keep us all safe, okay? And I appreciate that. Oh my goodness, friends, what a year. I both can and cannot believe that it's almost December. Considering that it feels like about a decade has gone by just since March. You know, the fascinating thing is that this year doesn't feel long for an entire year. We had 2.5 months of relative normalcy. You know, it's just everything since mid-March that has really really just been knocking us out. Oh my goodness. Oh, so many changes. So many changes, my friends. And I know it's been hard, but you know, this is one change I'm really grateful for. I'm really glad to have all of you here with me, hanging out. It's a wonderful opportunity for us to get to work out together and to spend time together and just build a little bit of that community back that we're not able to get in person right now. And that's really the hardest thing about the holiday season, right? Is the whatever, you know, the expectation of community and gathering together is just heavy in these last few months of the year. It's what so many of us always do. And so, you know, the quarantine and the physical distancing that may not have felt so terrible earlier in the year, it feels a lot harder to manage when we're in a time of year where we're used to being able to see people and to spend time with them and to hug them, and share food and companionship and all of that stuff. And so whatever we can do to build community in whatever weird ways we have open to us, I think is a good. I hope you found it to be good, because I certainly have. I am so grateful for this channel and for all of the people following it and the people coming to class, hanging out in chat, you know, talking, enjoying ourselves, and just trying to keep ourselves as healthy as we can in really intense times. So thank you for being a part of my life. Absolutely. Yeah, thank you for being a part of my life. Thank you for choosing to spend these, you know, hour-plus sessions here on Twitch, working out and getting fit, keeping ourselves healthy and strong so that we can go out into the world and do whatever it is that we want to do while staying safe and keeping our community safe, which I suppose is the caveat to everything right now. Oh man. Whew. How we all doing? Checking in on that form. We are almost done with our second run through. You're not fictional, no. Oh man. Although I was talking to some friends about that last night, about how not being able to have physical contact with people, or even close physical proximity with people, starts to have this weird impact where people stop feeling as real. You know, I had a couple friends drop by last night to drop some things off, and you know, stood a little ways from the door, all of us masked, and chatted for a bit. And I was like, I know you are here, but also it doesn't quite feel real because we're not able to hug, which is what we would usually do. And it's that weird thing where it starts to reinforce these sort of self-centric stances that many of us had when we were little, where it's like, am I the only person in the world? Because it sure is becoming harder to feel like there are other human beings when I am not able to come into contact with any of them. And it was weird. I hadn't put it into those terms before, but you know, these are friends who live pretty close by, and we will occasionally go for distanced walks together. But you know, again, we're not coming into physical contact with one another, so there's this weird invisible barrier between me and the rest of the world right now. And we're all experiencing that, or at least all of us who are, you know, taking quarantining and physical distancing seriously are experiencing that. And it's weird because there are ways to have really wonderful community gatherings online. And you know, a couple of my friends were doing an all-day Zoom thing yesterday that people could drop in and out of, and I dropped in for a bit, and it was wonderful. And just a bunch of people sort of sitting around and shooting the shit, and you know, had a Zoom call with my parents, and that was excellent as well. You know, so we have these moments where it's like, oh no, I am creating community again. It's this lovely, but without that physical contact, there is still weird unreality to a lot of the other humans in the world. Like, it feels like everybody is behind screens right now, you know. So you get that reaction that you get when you see, you know, a TV or a movie star in person for the first time, and you're like, you are so human-sized in person. I am used to you being either impossibly huge on the screen or impossibly small. And so there is a weird unreality to seeing you as a normal person, just sort of existing at normal proportions out in the wild. And I feel like that's what's happening with a lot of my friends and loved ones right now, where the first year that we're all able to physically interact again is going to be a lot of getting used to people having regular human proportions again, as opposed to, you know, the mini me that's on your laptop, or the mega me that's on your television, you know, depending on how you're watching the stream. And yeah, it just struck me yesterday, and I don't know why that day in particular, but it just struck me as something that I've been feeling very strange about, and I think helps to fuel some of our feelings of isolation and disconnect, you know, where a lot of the ways that we learn about the reality of other things is through touch. And when that entire sense is taken away, how do we maintain our understanding of the reality of other people? Oh, my friends! How did we get back here already? Dang it! My legs haven't recovered from the last time. Well, it's the nice thing about being the teacher. I can always pull out of this position when I want to. Although, that's mean. I suppose I'll try and hang in there with you for this final minute. Final minute, or if you're doing more than a minute, I mean, hats off to you, my friends. And remember to keep holding your object nice. Your arms are parallel to the floor, so they're parallel to the tops of your thighs as well. And everything is just holding in place, which, you know, feels like it should be easier than it ends up being. It is really intense to hold these types of positions, and you can definitely start to feel improved strength just as it becomes less intense to hold those positions. All right, a minute's gone by, my friends. So if you were waiting desperately for me to let you know that, well, now you know. Oh my goodness. What a weird year this has been. A very hard year in a lot of respects, and a very good year in a lot of respects. I'm sure that we are all feeling that in various personal ways, but I will always be glad for this year giving me the push that I needed to start this channel, even though I wish that the push had come from something a little less dire than a global pandemic shutting down my rock climbing gym. But we do not always get to choose the circumstances that confront us in our lives, and in those instances, all we can choose is how we meet those circumstances. And I am very happy and proud of the way that I have met these really extraordinary circumstances this year. And I'm really excited to see where this goes, to see what happens as we move forward into 2021, which is still going to be an intense year. Sorry to burst anyone's bubble. I know a lot of us are sort of clinging to that light at the end of the tunnel attitude for 2021. And I absolutely understand why, but it's also going to be a hard year. If nothing else, it's going to be a number of months into the year before we even get a vaccine that's being distributed. And it's going to be much longer than that before people are able to take it with enough people are able to take it that there is some additional safety in opening things back up. So it's going to, a lot of the stressors of this year are going to continue into next year. And it's important for us to remember that, because it can be really demoralizing when we set ourselves up for, at this arbitrary point and on this arbitrary date, this thing will automatically get easier. And then when that doesn't happen, as I said, it can feel really demoralizing, to be like, I thought this was going to be better, and now I don't know what to do. I think, though, that it will be an easier year because we will be more prepared for this, because we are more prepared for this, because hopefully, we've been at this for a while, my friends, and we're not getting caught unawares in the way that we were at the beginning of this year, right? That was a lot of the stress, especially at the beginning, was the sort of, oh, it's fine, oh, it's fine, oh, it's fine, oh shit, no, and that had a huge negative impact on people. We're not going to have that experience going into 2021. We already know that we're going to have to keep physically distancing, and that we're going to have to wait longer than we want to for a distributed vaccine, and we already know that it's going to be a little while longer before we can even start to really think about going back to larger gatherings or traveling more freely, all of that stuff. So we're not getting caught unawares, and I think that will be helpful. I know it's helpful for me. You know, when I was finally able to just sort of sit myself back and go, this is normal, and it's just full stop. This is what normal is now, and I am doing myself more harm than good by continually hoping that we'll get back to the previous normal more quickly and then getting disappointed when we don't, you know? And that really did help me to recenter myself. So let's all remember, especially in these last few weeks of 2020, let's remember to keep centering ourselves, reminding ourselves that 2021 is not a magical incantation. It's not going to take away the pandemic immediately. It's not going to immediately dismantle white supremacy and late-stage capitalism. It's not going to immediately smash the patriarchy. We still have to keep working on these things. But it will be another year for us to do that work. And we've all been tested really heavily over the course of this year. Sorry, I forgot what the exercise was. We've been tested really heavily over the course of this year, and you know, I do think and hope that many of us feel stronger because of it. I know that I do, and that is something that I will take into 2021 and feel hopeful that I will be able to use that strength to guide me through the year and to help me keep pushing towards my goals, both personally and societally. So, yeah, just some of my hopes for the next year. We're gonna be, yeah. Oh, that's fair. Yeah, 2020. Not considering 2020 to be over in spirit until Trump's out and vaccination is at a high enough level to be safe. That's fair. We'll be carting the spirit of 2020 along with us. It really does. You know, it makes my novelist brain consider really fun possibilities of like, oh my God, the hindsight is 2020 saying like, maybe that was time travelers trying to warn us of how awful 2020 was going to be. You know, I'm sure that there are plenty of people writing that book right now. And I look forward to reading it. Mm-hmm. Nice. Yeah. We're not going to do a ton of stretching, but we did some good arm work there. So let's just stand, shake our arms out a little bit, shake your hands. Specifically, just shake them back and forth. Shake your feet out a little bit. Let the ankle really dangle. Okay, so you're not holding it, you're letting that foot just sort of wobble around. And then let's let our arms just swing gently forwards and backwards. All right, we're not trying to shove them forward and backward, just letting them swing. And then take one arm out to the side, across our chest, other hand just above the elbow. So really pull that upper arm into our chest and get that nice stretch in our tricep. All right, this is a fairly common stretch. I think if you were ever in a PE class, you've probably done this stretch. So just take some breaths, especially if you're feeling any particular engagement there. Then let the arms fall open, back and forth a few more times, up with the other arm, and stretch on the other side. Ooh, yeah, that feels good. That feels really good. Always good to take nice big breaths whenever we're stretching. Okay, and let those arms out. Roll over the top of your feet, one at a time. Just get that nice stretch along the top of the foot, and it continues up into the shin. And other side. Woo! Try not to lose your balance. All right, so I'm standing on this foot so that I'm not in danger of falling over and putting too much pressure on the ankle and then doing something horrible. All right. Oh, good job, my friends. Good job. Huzzah. Yeah, I mean, basically, look, we don't have to make new month names, because basically it's just like March 247th. We're still stuck. We're not just stuck in 2020. We're still stuck in March of 2020. Lousy Smarch weather. Yep. Hate that Smarch weather. Ugh, so annoying. We've made it through a lot this year, though, friends. And it's honestly, I feel like we've made it through so many things this year that it is really hard to remember everything. I'm sure that it feels still more real to you, Amanda, but like, your cat was missing for like 2 months. And it's been several months since you got her back, which is just nuts. Like, how has that happened already? Like, all of that was encompassed in this year. Like, I have a friend who I had to drive to the ER for back issues. She got surgery, and all of that happened before we even went on quarantine. And I'm just like, that feels like it was an eon ago, but it was this year. You moved. Yeah, like, this is, so much has happened this year, and it's overwhelming. It's hard to keep it all in our brains, because it just feels like for so much of the year, just everything was piling on. And we didn't have time to breathe. And that is so hard. But we all have made it through, not always gracefully, not always feeling like we were the best versions of ourselves. Not always proud of our reactions, but we have made it through, and that's huge. And whatever feelings I have about Thanksgiving as a holiday, I do think that taking time to recognize how much we've made it through and how proud of ourselves we should be is important. So I'm proud of you. I hope you are proud of yourselves. And I'm really glad that we had class. That was absolutely lovely. I had a great time. Make sure you're drinking water. See, I always feel thirsty after this class because I'm talking the whole time, but make sure you're drinking water, because we're bad at hydrating ourselves. All right, my loves. There is only one more class left this week. It's tomorrow morning, 9 a.m. Mountain Time. It's the weekend kickoff, our awesome strength and stamina focused bodyweight class. My fave. I love that dang class. Yeah, I brought the whole picture into the living room again. such hydration. Um, good, good. I honestly, it's why I've stuck with the mason jar as opposed to going back to the water bottle, because this baby holds so much water. Slap side of mason jar. Um, oh my goodness. All right, yeah. Clearly, I need to go relax. Oh, my friends, you can follow me on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. All of those handles will be in my end cards, but they're all variations on Blanche Case Fitness. My YouTube channel of the same name is where I upload the VODs for these streams, and lots of other fun content going up there soon. So please do head over there and subscribe. If you want to help support me financially in making these streams, I do have a coffee account, Blanche Case Fitness. Donations are always very much appreciated. And if you want to keep working out, building this community, having a good time, then please follow this channel. Tell your friends, coworkers, loved ones, anyone looking for a good class stream. Yay! Yes, absolutely. Have fun at work tomorrow, my dear. And thanks for being here. Always, my friends. It's something that I do not take for granted and that I appreciate every time we do class. So go have a good shower, have a good dinner, and I will see some of you back here tomorrow. Mwah. Have a great night.